Well, good evening, everyone. We're so excited to have you with us today. My name is Lisa Rainey. I'm an Associate Director of Admissions at Syracuse, and we're here along with a number of my colleagues to talk about being an undecided major at Syracuse and more about the many academic options that you have here with us. So I know it may take a moment or two for everyone to enter the room. So once again, we're glad to have you. I am joined by my colleagues from the admissions office, Mike and Michelle behind the scenes. They will be helping with the presentation tonight and with answering some of your questions as we go. If you have questions throughout the program, you can use the Q&A box, and they're here behind the scenes to help with those questions. Some of them we may wait till the end. We'll have a big Q&A session at the end of the official presentation here as well. So don't worry if we don't answer your question right away. It might be something we've anticipated and is already in the presentation. So our colleague Nate Raybeck will be introducing himself in just a few moments as one of the lead advisors for the College of Arts and Sciences, and he does work specifically with undecided students. So you're in good company and have great advising available to you should you decide to come to Syracuse. So hopefully everybody's logged in and comfortable and ready to get started. And Mike, if you don't mind, we can move on to the next slide. So we try to make these sessions interactive. And we know that being an undecided major or undecided as far as what you want to study can mean a lot of different things. So Mike is going to pull up a Zoom poll. So you'll see that pop up on your screen. If you just want to take a moment to fill out your responses, you should see that now. And let us know how you describe yourself as being an undecided student. So you can only pick one. You might have an idea of a major, but you're looking to explore. You might have what we call it, you might be a multi-decided student. You have a lot of interests and you're not sure how to kind of narrow those down just yet. That's okay. Or maybe you're very new to this process and you know, I just don't know. And I'm here to kind of get a sense of what my options are. So no right or wrong answers, definitely. We're just looking to get a sense of what might be a good description of where you are in the process. And that will help all of us in answering questions and giving you some helpful advice here tonight. So Mike, I'm not sure when I will see the results for the poll. I just see, let's see, okay, can we go on to the next slide? Okay, great. That was quick. Okay, so it looks like just over half of you are multi-decided students, which is often the case. So I have multiple interests and I don't know what to pick. So a little less than half, so 43% of you have an idea, but looking to explore. Great. And then a few of you, so 4% of our students here tonight, not sure what to major in. Okay, so most of you have some ideas in mind and maybe need some help narrowing that down. And some of you need a good sense of the exploration process, which we are definitely here to talk about tonight. So great. So from our perspective, being an undecided student here at Syracuse, close to 40% of our students apply as an undecided major. And we'll talk a little bit more later about how all of that works. So it's not a strange thing. It's not unusual. It's not bad or negative, really, in any stretch of the imagination. It's quite common at Syracuse because we have so many options. If you've done some research into Syracuse, you know that we have nearly 200 academic majors. So it's a great place to really explore. Nationwide, so outside of Syracuse alone, almost 50% of students enter as undecided majors when they get to university or to college. So great company there. And a majority of college students, even if they come in with a major in mind, they change their minds. It's all part of the process. So very, very common. So when we talk, you might hear this expression a lot when you meet with admissions officers about finding your academic fit. And for us, that means declaring a major that matches your skills, your interests, your goals, what you're looking to accomplish as a college student, but certainly beyond in your careers as well. Next slide, Mike, please. Okay. So at Syracuse, here are a number of ways that we support students in that exact academic journey. So again, those 200 academic majors, 100 minors, a lot of opportunities for what we call dual programs. So maybe a double major, majors and minors in combination. So a lot of different ways that you can put your academic path together. We feel that we give students the best of both worlds in a lot of ways. So you get a smaller college experience within your home school or college, and we'll talk about what those are in just a minute, with all the benefits of a big major research university. So labs, facilities, resources, research opportunities, academic options, the diverse campus life, all those things that you want from a big university with an average class size of 26. So our students really like having that balance. A lot of flexibility to combine programs that might be really different. We get that question a lot. Like, is this a weird combination? We love that. A major might be very different than your minor, and we kind of celebrate that. And if that's what makes you happy and helps you to reach your goals, fantastic. We're happy to support that. And again, the ability to transfer, it can be a competitive process. We do like for students to know that, but if you start out in one school or college here at Syracuse and need to at some point change to reach the major that you're looking at, we have processes in place for you to apply for that transfer. We call them intra-university transfers here. And that's a process in place for students who might change their minds along the way. And there's usually some time until the end of that sophomore year in most cases to do that. Okay, so when students apply, and we will talk about the application process in a bit, they need to indicate at least one of these 10 undergraduate schools or colleges as their first choice. Some universities you might be looking at might allow students to apply generally undecided to the university. We work a little differently here at Syracuse. I think that's a good thing because you have a home base, you have a faculty advisor in your area, you have a peer advisor, you have this team in place, even if you aren't quite sure of your major yet, to help you navigate all of those choices that you have. So you'll see here the list. These are all 10 of our undergraduate schools and colleges. The ones marked with an asterisk there, those are the ones that allow you to apply as an undecided major. Which is nearly all of them. So whether it's architecture, education, engineering and computer science, our Falk College of Sport and Human Dynamics, information studies, management, Newhouse School of Public Communications, and our College of Visual and Performing Arts, you'll see that most of those do give you the ability to apply as an undecided student. And one of my colleagues here tonight, we're going to hand it over to him to speak to you more about the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs, as well as the College of Arts and Sciences. With our liberal arts core here at the university, most students are going to take a number of classes, particularly through the College of Arts and Sciences. So he will be a great resource in advising you how this process looks for students who come to Syracuse as an undecided major. So Nate, lead advisor for the College of Arts and Sciences, I will hand it over to you.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Lisa, for that wonderful introduction sort of stuff. And before I get started on this slide, I want to speak to every one of you who just answered one of the 3 questions. Whether you're the multi-interested, focus interested, or completely undecided, you're fine. You are 100% okay. I had 7 meetings today with students, and every one of them was in some way, shape, or form just like you. And you will be okay. And the reason I can say that is because regardless of one of the 10 schools or colleges that you come into here at SU, you're going to be required to do courses in the liberal arts, whether you're in architecture, whether you're in Whitman, whether you're in Newhouse, the School of Ed, or our very own College of Arts and Sciences in the Maxwell School. You will be steeped in the foundational educational requirements of Syracuse University that are part and parcel of the liberal arts experience. Now, this might look a little bit different if you're in Falk than, say, if you're in Whitman, but the point is still the same. It allows for academic exploration across disciplines. I am one of the lead advisors for what we call the Green Team, but really it's an exploration team, a team designed to help you figure out what it is that you're really interested in, what it is that you're passionate about, what it is that drives you. And that very frequently is not contained in a single area of study. And so one of the hallmarks of a Syracuse University education is the options for interdisciplinary studies. I tell my students, just like I met with one student today who's a policy studies major, you really should look at that course in VPA because I know you're interested in drawing, or I know you're interested in painting. It will be of benefit to you. Why? Because its design is to create a well-rounded student, not just a well-rounded student, but a well-rounded professional. The number one thing after you graduate that everyone is going to look for, whether you're going straight into the workforce or off to graduate school or medical school or what have you, is your ability to be flexible. You've never seen an advertisement that said wanted, someone who thinks only in a box in a linear fashion. Dum, 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 dum. Never. Can you think on your feet? Can you be flexible? Can you look at things from multiple angles? That is the heart of the liberal arts curriculum, and that is embedded in each one of our 10 colleges and schools here at SU. It's also embedded in our transition to the next slide that my good colleague and friend Mike is going to help us with, because there's one question. All of you have been on multiple college tours. All of you have attended sessions like this at a variety of different schools. There's only one question you need to ask of any university, and it's this: do you have the resources for me to tell my story? And if I don't know what that story is, do you have the resources to help me develop it? The College of Arts and Sciences and the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs has 11, I don't even have enough fingers, right? Has 11 dedicated advisors like me to help you from the moment you get here to explore your story. And I assure you, the importance of your story is not something you're undecided about. You know you have a voice. You know you have a purpose. You just want to help articulate it. And you are not shy about declaring that to the world. Whether it's social justice issues that you rally your high school around, or whether it was the greatest brunch you've ever had and you need the world to see, #fire. You know you have a voice. You know you have a story. You know that you're important. We're here to help you develop that story. So in terms of support, what do you need to tell your story? Let me tell you a little bit about mine. When I went to college back in the dark ages, I started as a philosophy major, but I was determined. That was not unemployable enough. So I added political science, and I was like, no, I could do better. So let me add religion. Let me add history. Wait, the undergraduate degree in those is not going to be unemployable enough. Let me go to divinity school, Yale University, where I learned very quickly that I was not a man of the cloth, nor was I all that interested in the cloth. So I enrolled in a PhD program at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, studied religion, education, and philosophy. And despite all my efforts, I got a job at Northwestern Mutual in the financial services section, because I could think outside the box, because I knew the value of what our senior associate dean, Jerry Greenberg, calls the freedom skills, the skills necessary for you to have the freedom to do whatever it is that you want to do. And now I'm going to ask you guys probably the dumbest question I've ever asked anyone. Do you guys know what Twitter is? Because Twitter just celebrated its 15th birthday. Happy birthday, Twitter. March 2021 was you turned 15. Here's the hallmark of the liberal arts. Whether you're in folk, whether you're in arts and sciences, whether you're in VPA, whether you're anywhere. 15 years ago, Twitter didn't exist. So how are you going to have the foundation to move forward into a world that has yet to imagine the careers that you will occupy? And the answer is through a study of the liberal arts, through a study of the relationship between the particular and the general, to the study of being a well-rounded, ethically driven person. And that's the study one does here at Syracuse University, regardless of what college you're in. So if you want to be part of the grand family of humanity, then why don't you consider joining our family, the Orange family? And on that point, I'm going to turn things back over to Lisa, and she's going to tell you how that process works.
Thank you so much, Nate. You make me want to go back in time and kind of start all over and explore all of my options as well. So thank you for that. I hope for the students and family members who might be watching today, take those words at face value. We want that exploration. We want your students to come in and take advantage of all the resources that we have here. And we're preparing you for careers that don't exist yet. So having all of those skills, that's going to serve you well in your future careers, whatever those may end up looking like. So thank you for that really encouraging commentary. I hope our students enjoyed it as much as the three of us did. So yeah, we want you to think about, of course, coming to Syracuse and joining that Orange family and taking advantage of all of these resources that we have available. So this isn't meant to be an information session just about admissions, so we'll keep it kind of high level, but if you have specific questions, we'll certainly have time to go over those as well. But when it comes to the application process for students who, like you, may not be quite sure of your majors just yet, again, as we talked about earlier, you do need to indicate at least one of our undergraduate schools or colleges as your first choice. You can apply undecided to almost all of them. So you see the list here, all of our different programs of study that allow you to come in as an undecided major. It might be College of Arts and Sciences. That may be a great home for you. Majority of the majors that we have here, over 55, I think now, within the College of Arts and Sciences alone. Maybe you're interested in engineering. A lot of you mentioned earlier that I have a general area, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe you're interested in engineering, maybe you're interested in business, but you just don't know quite what specific major is right for you yet. That's okay. You don't have a chance to study finance and real estate and marketing and all of these things in high school. So you may need some time to figure that out. So you will see that as an option on the common application for you to apply as an undecided major to all of those different options that you see here. And just know on our end, I mentioned this earlier, but I think it bears repeating, we don't view that as a bad thing from the admissions perspective. I know sometimes parents are a little worried about that, maybe your students too. And it's very common here at Syracuse because we've got the advising, we've got the options, we're really equipped to take good care of students who need to really explore their options here. So no worries on that front. It is a holistic admissions process, and this applies regardless of what program of study you might be looking at. What does that mean? It means that we're looking at a lot of different factors. So we are looking, of course, at everything on your common application, your writing ability, your familiarity with the university. If you choose to have an optional admissions interview, great. We will be offering those entirely virtually this year. So if you're a senior, you do have until about the middle of November, rather middle of December, to schedule and complete your optional interview. That lets us get to know you as an individual and not just, an application and some test scores and transcripts. We are test optional for those of you, again, seniors this year applying for the fall 2022 semester. If you're juniors in the group, we're still TBD on that policy moving forward for juniors, sophomores, anybody younger than seniors right now. As soon as we have that information, we'll share it for you. But for our seniors in the group tonight, it's entirely up to you. If you want to send in SAT scores, ACT scores, we don't have an expectation, and you'll receive the same consideration for admissions, but also for scholarships and everything, with or without test scores. So I think that's really important to note. Depending on, when we talk about architecture or visual and performing arts, those programs do require a portfolio or an audition, depending on the major. But if you're truly applying as an undecided student, we have these options here. that don't require any of those additional pieces of information. So again, holistic process, we look at a lot of different factors, and the essays really give you a chance to show your personality, your research into the university, which we always recommend that you spend a little extra time on those. So high level conversation, but just to give you a sense of what the process looks like here at Syracuse. So we try to keep that part pretty general, and I believe that brings us now to the Q&A portion. So I know I've seen a couple of questions come through the Q&A box, but if you've got more, that's what we're here for tonight. We've got plenty of time to answer questions that you may have for either myself or for Nate as an advisor at the College of Arts and Sciences. You can always keep in touch with us after the event tonight, orange@syr.edu. You see that address on our screen. That's our general admissions email, so you can always reach us that way. So if you have further questions, we are ready. Let's see, let me take a look here. We did have a question earlier that I think we should circle back to. It might be relevant for a number of students here, but can you have two majors? Absolutely. It's very common here at Syracuse. Definitely within the College of Arts and Sciences, I know it's very common, but in other areas as well. Not every major can be combined as a double major. I think that's worth noting, but many can. So if you wanted to share with us in the Q&A what interests you might have, we can give you some more advice on that. But yeah, very, very common here at Syracuse for students to have more than just one major even. We have another question coming in. What's the most popular major? You know, I'm sure it varies by school or college. Nate, I always hear that psychology is pretty popular in arts and sciences. I don't know if you might have more thoughts on that question.
Yeah, so psychology is the most popular major in the College of Arts and Sciences, but economics is clipping at its heels. Biology, political science, international relations kind of round out our top 5, generally speaking. I hope if that's helpful sort of stuff. But one of the things that I would want to impress upon all of you is it really is more about the holistic education than it really is the particular major. So for example, I've never seen someone to be like, well, you know, all we look for in a candidate for medical school or this job is a major in X, nothing else. Oftentimes you'll find it's the experiences that you have, everything outside of the major. Because if you're competing with a bunch of people that also have, and I asked this question, so I'll give you guys an advising sort of thing on this. I ask all my pre-health students, whether they're coming from Whitman or the School of Engineering or anything else, the same question. Imagine someone has your GPA and your MCAT score. Why would I take you over that other person? If I level those playing fields. So imagine someone has your major or your combination of majors. What else might it be? Again, the theme is exploration. The theme is experience. So the major is tremendously important, but it isn't the end all be all. So let us, and by us, I mean advisors and other professionals throughout the Syracuse family, help you devise that story and those combinations that best suit your needs.
Thank you, Nate. We've got a number of great questions coming in. I'll try to kind of group those together that are similar. So a couple of questions on how students narrow down their options to determine a major. Do you have any specific suggestions for how students come to a specific major? Another student asks, is there kind of an event where students can meet with upperclassmen and kind of chat with them about their experiences? What is that process like as time kind of goes by to get students settled into a major that's a good fit for them?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I'll take it in 2 parts. The first one is in the College of Arts and Sciences in the Maxwell School, for example, I am the lead advisor with what we call the Dean's Team. And the Dean's Team are upperclassmen who basically engage with the students, for particularly incoming students, all about things like oh, so you want to be a biology major? Well, I was a biology major as well and sort of stuff, but I discovered this. And we have avenues for them to engage. We also, on that theme of exploration, and this goes across the board. This is the same thing if you're in folk, or if you're in engineering, or if you're in architecture, or VPA, or the School of Ed. One of the things that you'll have to do in that liberal arts curriculum is take something outside of the college that you're in. That is your opportunity to kind of figure out what it is that you might not like. One of the most important things that I discover with my students is not necessarily what they really like, but what they really don't. I thought I was going to love history, and I got into this history class and I'm like, nope, I'm gone. Well, that's fantastic. So we can know. And the flexibility of your ability to explore other classes, other departments, other colleges gives you that ability in satisfying the requirements for your own school, for you to be able to help narrow and winnow down those kinds of things that you know you enjoy, that you think you excel at, that sort of stuff. So there are both curricular and extracurricular ways. One of the things that's a hallmark here at SU is we have 300 registered clubs and student organizations, as well as the ability to create clubs and organizations of your own if the one you're after doesn't exist. Get involved. You can find out a lot about engagement in an area of things you would have never thought about. And so by sort of, to go back to my story, the reason I became a philosophy major from the get is I walked into the wrong room. I thought I was heading into the right room, and I was like, yeah, I think it's going to be political science. So let me head into this room. And I walked into the wrong room. And I ended up having a conversation with the department chair of the philosophy program, and I was hooked. So you never know where these opportunities might present themselves. So engage and explore. And that's built into the curricula at every one of the colleges that are here at SU.
Great answer there. And I know that was a question a couple of students had posed. So I hope that makes them feel better about the immense amount of support that we give to students in that process. So we have a number of questions. I'll do my best to work through all of those here tonight. We have a student actually also interested in history. What if I declare that as my major and then I decide that's not the direction I want to go in? And we have a couple questions about intra-university transfers. So if you want to talk about how that works with arts and sciences, and I can fill in if needed.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So the first thing, and this goes for whatever college or school that you start at, the first thing you want to do is you want to reach out to your advisor to begin to have a discussion. Oh, and by the way, you'll start having these discussions the moment you join the Orange family. The moment you're part of our family, and you're part of our family forever. That's why we say Orange forever. Once you're part of that, we begin this discussion. Are you still interested in these things? Are they, let's say it is history. I'll use history as my example for this one. I have a student that walks into my office and says, Nate, I was all gung-ho about history, but I think I want to change my mind. My logical question, next question is, okay, are the things that we know we might be interested in? Because really it's just a form, and I'm going to have you fill out this thing online. We'll do it together, and you just dropped your history major. Now, the inter-university transfer, though, let's say you come into the College of Arts and Sciences, but you really feel the call of Newhouse, or the feel of the call of VPA, or the call of architecture, or folk, or ... Great, I can help you with that. And so can every other advisor here on Syracuse's campus. We can begin the discussions about, okay, so here's the way we would start the process. Here are the things. Now I want to tell you, this is going to be a challenging road, but here's how we best help you get aligned with those sort of goals. So if you wanted to go to Whitman, the first thing I would say is, okay, we need 2 of the following 3 courses. Let's make sure they're part of your schedule If it's not for this semester, then for next semester. They're going to ask you, why do you want to go to Whitman? So let's start. Why do you want to go to Whitman? The key point in all of that is, one, it's a process that we can begin having discussions with as soon as those pop into your little noggin. And secondly, you are never alone. You are never on your own. Because if you're on your own, you're lost. But you explore with a guide, with someone who's there to help you read the signposts and say, ooh, 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 danger, that way, Will Robinson. Come back to me. Let's think about this. And that's what the advising offices do, not just in the College of Arts and Sciences in Maxwell, but in VPA, in architecture, in the School of Ed, et cetera, et cetera. That's what they're here for you to do. If you come in and you are certain about X and you discover it's really Y, if I had to ballpark that, that's 85% of the conversations that I've had with students over the last 6 weeks of class. And you know what? All of them are fine. All of them are okay. The more you engage with us, the more we're able to help you, the better and more flexible we're going to be able to work with you. If you can think it, we might not be able to do it exactly what you're thinking, but we can try and we can explore and we can do that together. And that's what the advising office does in consultation with admissions, in consultation with everybody. The entire purpose of us being here and us as a collective at SU is to help you succeed, period. I hope, does that help?
I'm pretty sure it does, Nate. That's phenomenal. And we tell students that all the time from the admissions side is Syracuse is a larger campus, it's true, but there are so many people here who are really eager to support students, whether it's, if it's not something we might know the answer to in admissions, we know how to connect you to someone who will know. So reach out to that one person you might know really well and be comfortable with, and they can often get you started and connected to the people who can really help you on that path. So thank you for that. We have a few more questions, and so I want to make sure we get to those. If anyone else has additional questions, feel free to keep those coming. We do have a question about double majors. So one of our students asks, are the subject education majors, are those options that you can't pair with another major? The subject majors are kind of already interdisciplinary. So for that one, case in point, I'd really like to connect you to our colleague at the School of Education, Tim Finley, so you can connect with Tim and kind of talk about what's on your mind, what combination you might be interested in. So send us an email if you would, Callie, to orange@syr.edu, and we'll connect you with our friend Tim in the School of Education, and we can talk through those possibilities. That's a great one-on-one conversation to have. So let's do that one over email, and we'll get you some good info there. We have another question. Is it possible to minor in a different area of the college, like VPA, while majoring in something like arts and sciences? Absolutely. Not every major is available as a minor, but many of them are. We have about 100 minors total. And as I mentioned at the beginning, they might be very different, and that's okay. So we love to encourage that, love to see that. There is a section of our website where you can view all of our majors and minors, and you can see if the options that you're thinking about are available as minors. So we love to see that kind of combination happening. Okay, I think those are all of the questions that we have here. So if anybody has any additional questions, now is the time to get those in the Q&A box tonight. If you're like me and generally think of your questions right after something like this ends, that's okay. You can always email us at orange@syr.edu. We're always happy to answer questions. That's what we do. That's why we're here. And so we're really glad that you were all able to join us tonight. It looks like we don't have any further questions. So, we've got one more from Daniel. Fantastic. Is it guaranteed that you can switch from one college into the Newhouse School? It's not a guarantee, and as we get to know students a little bit more through the process and we talk about inter-university transfer options, it's not a guarantee, especially when you're thinking about Newhouse or business or architecture. Those tend to be the most competitive programs when you're applying directly into them. and they remain competitive for students looking to make that switch, maybe from a different major on campus. So it's not a guarantee, but again, you have your faculty advisors, you have support in navigating that process. You usually have a few different semesters you can apply. If it doesn't work out the first time, you should have another chance. But yeah, again, if you want to talk about that more offline, you can send us an email and we can walk you through the process in more detail. So not a guarantee, but definitely something that students are able to navigate. So I want to thank my colleagues behind the scenes for asking all these questions and handling the Zoom poll and getting us all sorted for tonight. So thank you to Michelle and Michael for your assistance tonight. Certainly to Nate for your inspiring and comforting words. I know there's often a lot of anxiety throughout this process from start to finish, from applying, what's a good letter of recommendation, what's a good essay, how do I figure out my whole life? And to your words from earlier, we have so many people here to help students along in that path. So I hope that students take some assurance there and feel better about the support that they would receive here at Syracuse. So thanks again, everyone. We really appreciate you being here with us tonight. Have a wonderful evening, and we hope to see you, on campus or at another virtual session soon. So be well, everyone. Go Orange.